Good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and with tonight is Kim with her new book, I Am. Now I Am. How are you doing, darling?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, darling. I love sitting down and having coffee with you and talking because you've got a lot going on right now. You've got some children's books getting ready to come out,
I
and you're
did.
getting ready to pivot, and you just got some more channeling information. So, how'd you get started?
Wow. In 2012, I was just living my life, just a wife and a mother. And I, in all honesty, had a psychic attack.
Okay.
Yeah. And, but it was all orchestrated by the universe, me, of course, to get my
Hmm.
self going on my path. And it was in 2012, December 21st. That was the end supposedly of the Mayan calendar that day.
Supposedly,
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah. Anyway, that
apparently they forgot to flip the page and keep reading that. Then it goes into 4 days of darkness, and we start
yeah.
back over.
But
It's like
it was all
how many
good.
books? It was all
It,
good.
it was all good. And that got me going and it put me right where was meant to go. And started reading voraciously about what the heck was going on with me in my life and why this was happening, and wanted to
Hmm.
gain some kind of control and knowledge. And so I literally read book after book after book and found a spiritual store in my neighborhood and went
Hmm.
in. There were a bunch of wise women at the register. And I said,
Uh huh.
they took one look at me and they said, "How can we help you?" I said, "Well, I've got a lot going on." They said, "Come this way."
Hmm.
They said,
Let's
we
have
have
a seat.
let's have a seat. We know exactly what's going on." And
Uh
yeah,
huh.
they explained things to me. And I attended after that an ascension class with a traveling intuitive man
Hmm.
who actually ran the crystal beds, the crystal beds
Hmm.
from Brazil. So he traveled with them. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, so he came to our local spiritual store here called Solutions for Daily Living. And I, went into this class. And I remember him saying, "From this moment forth, none of you will be the same, if
Uh-huh.
you if and we weren't." And he said, "One day I'm going to be in line buying your books." And I thought, "Oh, he's crazy. I'm not an
Uh-huh.
author." you know.
Right.
And here we are. Last August I, published my first book. So
Right.
um, yeah, and so that was 2012. And
Hmm.
every single year, I just, delve into spirituality. And we were talking about oracle cards, which I'm writing a
Hmm.
deck now. And I fell in love with those. I think most people, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I really like the artwork. And, and they're
Hmm.
easy to access. And I gained a lot of wisdom from using those, and intuitively, and just
Hmm.
attending classes. I got certified in Reiki. I did the integrative energy therapy. I did,
Hmm.
certified in every modality, a lot of modalities. And I knew I
Right.
was, yeah. So I had one day, actually, I was walking with a friend who's highly intuitive, and she said, "You need to come with me to this gathering
Hmm.
near home." And I said, "Oh, really? What kind of gathering?" She said, "Well, a woman channels Archangel Raphael, and she's done so since the harmonic convergence. And
Hmm.
it'd be really interesting. She's a pure clear channel." And I said, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay." And so I asked her a couple
Interesting.
questions, and we went. There was about 15 of us, and she channeled Archangel Raphael just like I'm speaking to you. And I
Uh-huh.
was the first one that raised my hand. And I said, "Archangel Raphael, what's going on?" Because the angel said, "What is it? What is it?" And I
Hmm.
said, "What's going on?" And I took my son with me. He was about 12 at the time, or 13. And uh, he said, "You're a spontaneous direct healer. And
Hmm.
so is your son who's sitting next to you. And there's a line of ascended masters behind your son and behind you. And yeah, and this is the work you're here to do." And that was to get you motivated to get on your path.
Hmm.
And so ever since then, I went to her. And she doesn't do privates anymore, but she is
Right.
worldwide now. you know
Right.
so and I just recently, we were talking, I was pivoted by the universe.
Uh-huh.
I did it. I am the universe. So I pivoted myself. And I've been working with Archangel Raphael and Kelly. Her name's Kelly Kolodny. Wonderful. She's a friend of
Mm-hmm.
mine who channels Raphael.
Right.
And for a long time now, she's global now.
Mm-hmm.
We do work for the planet, for the, all
Right.
kinds of, and humanity in raising consciousness. And I was just taken out of that class recently, January. And then I was on my way to write 10 more books. And
Mm-hmm.
that got switched around to Oracle decks now,
Right.
so an Oracle deck rather. So yeah, so
Interesting.
everything's starting to pivot for me. So
Right. And, it's different. I mean, when, spirit goes, oh, by the way, yeah, that was cute. You had that lovely plan laid out. Oh, you made all these notes. That paper looks so interesting. It would have been better as a tree, but fine. Here's your new assignment.
exactly, that's what it was. And
Yeah.
I said yes right away. And actually, when I made the decision, this was I'd been with her since 2012, 2013.
Right.
I was led to her. Raphael was my guide and still is, but for a very long time. And
Mm-hmm.
and that was quite a that. But I said yes immediately because I know
Right.
that it's better for me and it serves my highest good. So I was
Right.
on board. Yeah.
And you don't get a choice in that. Like, they allow you to say yes,
Mm-hmm. But it's
or you can
exactly.
say I don't know, or no, I'm not going to. And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, mm-hmm, that'll be cute. That'll be cute. Oh yeah, you're just pulling all the antics.
You're so
Fine.
right. Yeah.
Zap. Here you go. Have fun.
Yes.
It's
It's our divine. It's my soul. Contracts, and that's
right.
what I set up for myself. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I said yes. And I always say yes to life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting because I know it's serving my highest good, and I know it's going to be awesome, more than I can ever imagine for myself. So,
right.
So here we are. So we're starting the deck and the writing of the deck now, as of today.
Right.
Officially today, as of last week.
Right.
And I have 4 children's books that are written that are just being illustrated now. They're about to come out. They're all based in oneness.
Cool.
One of the titles, I can see if I can remember them all, is I haven't looked at them for a while, but what if I was one with everything and all? And where the green grass grows is another title. And I have a bunch of, it's all based in oneness, about synchronicity, about all different kinds of things.
And those are so important because you can go into a metaphysical store, you can go into Books a Million, whatever, hit Amazon, and there are tons of new age, new spiritualism books for adults. There's a few for young teens, but these parents that are trying to meditate and raise their vibration and get on their soul track, have what, fried greens and eggs to read to their children?
I know. That's why I wrote these actually during COVID. I wrote these during COVID. They came out pretty quickly. One I actually wrote when I was 19 years old, and and I put it away in a book somewhere. And then the divine came in and said, "Where's that story you wrote?" I said, "What story?" And they said, and I went to my mother's house and I tried to find it. I couldn't find it, and I sat down and rewrote it in 1 hour. Yeah.
That's quick for the writer process.
That's many, many years ago. Many years have passed by. I'm in my 50s. And I wrote it when I was 19. So, it just came flooding in. It was just my I am presence. My soul just poured it out. Here you go. The other ones took a little bit more time, but that one that I had written previously came out pretty quick. So,
now in the productivity world, the I am statement's very powerful. There's a practice of writing 5 I am statements a day in a journal, and it's supposed to help you build that confidence, stay focused on your priorities, stay focused on who you are. How does Now I Am play into that, or does it?
Yeah, of course. Well, Now I Am, this book is about my personal journey from 2012, my awakening, to 2015, because I had to stop it somewhere. And it's all the transcendental
Changes.
experiences that I had and
Right.
shifts that I had in that, that when you first wake up, they're more profound almost, but once you get on board, they're,
Right.
of course you experience synchronicity and magic, but it's not like the very begin. I can only speak for myself. In the beginning, it was like,
Right.
whoa, this is, amazing. And once you're on board, they don't have to, I don't know,
Right.
for lack of a better way of saying it, they don't have to wow you anymore or get your attention because they have it, so.
Well, that, and I think we get used to it.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah,
and especially if we're in like our little worlds, our little creational worlds, and it's like,
Yeah.
very early in my relationship with my husband, he'd be freaking, and I'm like, it'll work out.
Everything works out, right? So back to the I am. Now I am is that's the title pertaining to me, and I give at the end of each, just as a side note, at the end of each chapter, I give powerful. I call it tools for your toolbox. I am statements at the end of each chapter.
Right.
That are powerful, that you can utilize for yourself. So this book is about me, but it really, since we're all one, it pertains to all of us. So it's very helpful, I feel,
Right.
Even
and that's probably the best way. And I think it's the way that teachers used to teach in the metaphysical space. And then they switched up. Like, they got told you need a piece of paper, you need this, you need a class, you need a manual, was to just share their stories.
Right. I think it's interesting to hear somebody else's, and then you can see how it compares to your story. Yeah. And you can see yourself in it. So I wrote that, and of course with concepts and things. And I tried, my whole thing is, mastery made simple. I try to make everything simple because that's the way I wanted it. Because when I first woke up, I was like, what the heck? Bring me somebody that can explain this to me in English, like that I can utilize and really put to work. Don't give me concepts out. I want to know how, what do I need to do here, and I try to do that as best I can in my writings for people, and what I'm doing now even. And so I was given 2 years ago the I Am discourses. Are you familiar with them? So St. Germain's I Am discourses, and they were kind of plopped in my lap in January of 2022, I believe. And I just would stay up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, taking note after note after note. And now they've asked me, and that's why I was going to make 10 more books until pivoted. And I still may make those. I'm not sure. You
will
right now, but I'm making it, that vernacular and those words they use were from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And, even somebody who I think who is has been on their spiritual path a long time, I even had to reread it 3 or 4 times, certain paragraphs, like what the, and I try to make it simple. So I'm kind of dissecting it and pulling out and really making it like, oh, I get that, the way I would want it delivered to me,
Right. And a lot of the esoteric works, when you go delving through them, it's like, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot.
And then you have to go and you have to get like a whiteboard. For me, this is my process. Is I have these big whiteboards and markers, and I'm like, A equals B equals C, and then you for me, I have to plot the formula out of what they're trying to do here.
Right. I do that too, actually. Yeah.
And with that, it takes a good bit. And like the 20s and 30s, they didn't care how big the words were. Like, I have a couple dictionaries that I have to go and pull and go, oh, so he meant sunrise. You didn't need to have that.
I know, right? Saying all that, but so yes.
Or the works of Madame Blavatsky. I'm telling you, the woman wrote beautiful wording for the time.
Right.
But to decode that into something useful,
I know, it's a lot.
It's like, can I have the Cliff Note versions of this?
Right, exactly. Well, that's kind of like what I'm doing. I'm not going to call it Cliff Notes, but I'm calling the books I was going to call, and I still may call in this Oracle deck. I still may call. We're playing around with that, but making the call, because all of these books that they wanted me to focus on, these, and actually these I am discourses, the masters told me they're covered in jewels in the Ascended Master's Octave of Light. They're sacred texts. And so it's all about the I am, and and the sacred fire. I kept reading and reading and reading, and and they said to me, back to your I am. Now I am I'm the full embodiment of my I am presence. So that's why I picked the title. So the I am is God in action. And so whenever you say that, one of the first things they told me and made really clear to me is, whenever you say I am and anything after that, you're bringing it forth into your experience to experience, right? To experience. So they actually said in the discourses, we wring our hands and watch you, because if we could brand you like you brand cattle, we would brand your consciousness with the words I am, so that you always would remember what you say after those powerful words. And I asked them, I said, what is the AM? Because I know they love acronyms. What is the AM in I am? And they said, already manifested. I already manifested. So whenever you say I am, and then you repeat something, whatever you say after that, you're literally saying, as the creator you are, I already manifested XYZ. So it's a done deal. And the I am always answers you instantaneously. Whether you receive that instantaneously or not, that's based on, if you have any blockages or any, what things like that. But it's always instantaneous in its response to you. So I'm like, watch what you say after, watch what you say. Even Archangel Michael said to me, put it where you brush your teeth, get an index card, tape it to the mirror, and put that and surrender to the I am, those two things. So you remember each and every day how important it is to do those two things. So
and and it's not screaming it in the street corners that I think normally gets the most effect. It's those quiet inner thoughts sometimes that you manifest faster.
Yeah, well,
So you have to watch that self-talk so much.
Right. That's why I the last 2 years I did morning and night. I just stopped doing it so much, because they're like, back up, because it's a little counterproductive if you do it overly. But I needed to do it, for a while there, to really ground it in, so to speak. And so they become part of who it is that I am. So and the subconscious. So that's what I've been doing last 2 years. Just doing my practice in the morning and at evening, and different things that they've showed me. But one thing, as I was reading these discourses, and just everything, like you said, the language is so, I'm like, I finally said to Archangel Raphael, my friend Kelly channels Archangel Raphael, the angel Raphael, and I said, Archangel Raphael, all of it is the sacred fire. It's all the sacred fire. And Raphael said, yes. I said, everything you're talking about is the sacred fire. All these invocations, and there's hundreds and hundreds, it all leads back. And the sacred fire is the love from the great central sun, which is the love of God itself, right? So the sacred fire is the healing flame, it's the miracle flame, it's the violet flame, it's the cosmic light substance, it's the Christ conscious blue lightning, it's everything. So and so they taught me how to use it, and they showed me actually something really amazing. I was sleeping one night. I'll share with you if you want me to share with you.
Of course.
I was sleeping one night, and all of a sudden I had a lucid dream, like the most lucid dream I've ever had. And fire engines, I could hear fire engines. And I got up and I looked out my blinds, and there was a fire truck backed into my driveway, one across the street. I'm in a townhome development, and to the right, 4 houses down, the townhome was burnt to the ground. And I heard, call the sacred fire, because what the sacred fire does, it does 3 things at once, instantaneously. It dissolves, and this is the term, there's no right or wrong, but this is the terminology the masters use. It dissolves and consumes all that is wrong. It brings forth all that is right, and it protects all that is constructive, all that is like kosher, instantaneously in one shot. And so when you call upon the sacred fire, you're calling upon, and there's legions of angels of sacred fire that just wait for your call. That's all. That's their job, to wait for somebody to call the fire. Yeah. And so what happens is, who responds is whoever hears the call, and it's the sacred fire, which we each actually have in our own atom of our own heart. We have that sacred fire, which is gifted by us from the I am that I am. Sorry. And we have our own sacred fire. And as we love ourselves and love others, that sacred fire grows and, grows and grows. And then what happens is the great central sun, which is the love of God, it's called the great central sun magnet. It sees your love as it is growing, and it magnetizes and it pulls you up. And as it lifts you up, it lifts everything else around you up as well. So that's the beauty of the sacred fire. And when you call it, it's always in perpetuity. So it keeps acting, so it keeps doing its divine perfect work. So the fire engines were out there, and I called forth the sacred fire in, through, and around every home, and into every nook and cranny and crevice of every one in every home. And as much as I could, I went back to bed in my dream. And then the fire engines went off again. And I got up and I opened my blinds, and there they were again. The house was burnt down. And I thought, I got to call again. I must have missed something. I called again. I went back to bed. Then I woke up in real life, and my fire alarm was going off in my house.
Oh, goodness. Then
I thought, is my house going to burn? I'm like, what's going on here? So then I called the fire department. They came. It was like wee hours of the morning. And mind you, this was real life now. So there was no house burnt down or anything. So I called the sacred fire forth again for myself and for everybody in the development. There's 144 houses here. Happens to be 144 houses here. That's interesting. And so I had an opportunity a couple days later to have a one-on-one with Archangel Raphael. And I said, Archangel Raphael, what was the deal with that? And Raphael said, your I am presence woke you to call forth the sacred fire, and you did so. And a travesty was averted. And the next day I went for a walk after I had that conversation. And there was a grandmother, a husband, a wife, and a baby in a carriage coming out of that house.
Interesting.
And I don't know, and I don't need to know, but who knows if it would have been an electrical problem, a candle was knocked over, who knows what it, but I felt like it had many meanings for me. It was, it did save their lives, but it was teaching me, it was teaching me the power of calling forth the sacred fire. So I'm trying to spread that, through my works about it.
Question. Have you done much research into the Pennsylvania Dutch magic practices?
No, I haven't. I was I was in a scene in past lives.
Okay. You might want to check those out.
Okay.
Because a lot of what you talk about right there is part of that magical practice.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, including like the overlaying of like Christianity, it's very heavily locked into Christianity and protecting the home and protecting the self and using the sacred fire for healing and all that type of thing. So it's highly interesting that you're channeling this information.
Yeah, it's so powerful, and I can't even, it's so amazing. And the beauty of it is, as I studied more and more, the beauty of it is all you have to do is I intend, as the God you are, as the creator you are, as the universe you are, I call forth the sacred fire, immortal victory, in, through, and around me, my home, my family, my friends, into this world wherever is needed for the victorious fulfillment of divine plan. You can go on and on and on. And then you say, I intend that you do your divine perfect work where I've sent you forth. So be it, and so it is. That's all. You don't need to know how. You just send it forth and they do the rest. That's the beauty of it,
Yeah.
So that's why I like it so much.
Understandable, but I find it interesting, and this is what I've seen occurring, and I want your viewpoint on this. Okay. A lot of the old practices that went quiet after the mid-40s, everything in New Age society, psychiatry work went quiet. Everything went, yes, there were some publications. Yes, there was authors recording stuff of history. But new theory, thought, and idea went quiet. And yes, for those hearing, that's Anna. Her daddy's getting ready to come home. Sorry, guys. She's not in heat. She's just a mouthy kitty. Um, but she, but no. And then, so we're, having to go in and like Madame Blavatsky, Saint Esteteen, Doreen Virtue, the original, not the author that we knew from the 80s, the 1920 writer, go in there and read that, and we're seeing it reoccur.
Mm-hmm.
The information is returning. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know I'm not familiar with what the information you're talking about. I just know what comes to me. That's
right.
I mean, I know what comes to me, but I feel like, what I can say that we're going back to the indigenous ways, and we're going back to I work with Merlin, and I work with the elements. Merlin is all about the elements, and I've done that in the group setting with Kelly's class with Archangel Raphael. Merlin's come in, and we did a whole thing with Merlin, and went into his classroom, and he's so funny. He's so quirky, and so he's awesome. And
that archetype is so interesting because he has a
Merlin.
lot of mythos, but at the same time, he has comments back to you like, I don't know, try it.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Merlin. Yeah, funny. Awesome.
He is. Saint Josephine is a lot more like A plus B equals C. Do you get the math?
Yeah, Merlin said to us all as a group when we started, come into my classroom. And he said, okay, everybody sit down at your desk. And he said, now I'm serious about play. I want you all to go play. Get on a swing set, go do something fun, go to the toy store, do whatever you want to do. But, I'm serious about play. And I went out and I did what he said. And I got all my, coloring books and this, that, and the other thing. And I came back, and there was a big rainbow over my house, and really some other interesting things around my house too. But it was really awesome. I love working with Merlin, and
yes, but and that's a really key point. Play. Now, I'm reading a book right now called Feel Good Productivity, and that's one of the biggest things. Is play and taking time to play and making things into games so that you increase your serotonin, you decrease your serotonin, increase your dopamine, which we know on a psychic level is, you remove your fear and up your vibration. Yeah, so play is highly important.
Yeah, because it brings you joy, right? It brings you joy, and that's a super high state to be in. And then only good things come from that. And then you go forth and call forth what you want to experience in your reality once you're in that that heightened vibration. Yeah, and I think Abraham Hicks and all they talk about that, getting in the vortex before you manifest and whatever. But
so. And it really comes down to, and I want to hear your thought on this as a metaphysical writer. Stepping into the vortex, creating your sacred creative space, building from joy. They're all the same thing.
It's all
just someone had, yeah.
It's literally so easy. But the thing about it is, you got to go through I had to go through all of that remembering to get to where I am right now, to realize it's all the same thing. Like what I just said to you about the sacred fire. I read all these books, and I'm like, it's all the sacred fire, and which makes sense. It's the love of God, and that's all that exists in all of creation and existence is love. And so, it makes sense, that's the most powerful thing. When you call forth the sacred fire, you're calling forth the love of God, basically. And nothing can oppose it. It's called the sacred fire love's immortal, indestructible purity from the great central sun. That is always victorious, immortal, indestructible, and unlimited power.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's, I find it interesting the people that vibrate from one author to another, and the books are the same. If we just take out the words and we go to action-oriented behaviors, it's the same book.
It probably is. Yeah. Because it's the same message as old as time. It's the same
Yeah.
message. Love yourself, love everybody else, and all is well. And be in full acceptance of life, however it shows up, and all is well.
And direct that creational flame.
Yeah. It's just, and
Yeah.
start to choose as the creator you are. Actively
Right.
choose, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell people, it's you can be the ball on the pool table being bounced around by all the other balls, or you can be the one saying, I'm going in the left corner pocket. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's up to you,
Right.
I choose to consciously choose my reality. When you
Mm-hmm.
know you're the I am that I am, that's part of your,
Right.
you consciously choose love. And that actually is a giving back to life. And that's what they say it's time for us all to do, humanity, give back to the life that we've been taking from, and start to
Right.
give back by as we be our true selves, our essence, and we love
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, and then we love all as self, then we are
Right.
giving back to the life that gives us. We're serving the light that serves us, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we're balancing it. So we've
Right.
taken, and now it's time to give back. And you do that through loving yourself and loving it all as self.
Right.
Yeah.
So, back to your awakening story, which is what your book's about. If someone wakes up tomorrow, what's your 3 survival kit actions they need?
Yeah. Surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Know your God. And then once you know I tell people you can't sell cars unless you know you're a salesman. You can't consciously co-create your reality and all that unless you know your God. You're
Mm-hmm.
the creator. So know who you are first and foremost. Everything starts up here, and then then you can work your way and do other
Mm-hmm.
things. And surrender. First of all, know who you are. Surrender to the highest aspect of who you are. For example's
Mm-hmm.
sake, just for example's sake, 99% of you that stayed on the other side of the veil when the 1% incarnated. Surrender that. And surrender is not giving over your power. It's surrendering to the part of who you are that has,
Mm-hmm.
like the hawk in the sky, that can see where the food is, that can see where you left your car, that can see the water source. And why would you be in the jungle looking all by yourself?
Right.
Surrender to the hawk in the sky who can navigate you. And so when
Right.
you surrender, when you say, I intend, because energy follows intention always, you say, I
Mm-hmm.
intend, I surrender to my I am that I am presence, or however you want to
Right.
word it, who created you and everything else, the divine universe, whatever. When you do that, you put the heart in the driver's seat, and the baby who's been driving the car, the ego gets in the back. And we all know when a baby drives a car, we have accidents, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
need the adult in the front seat, and the adult is the heart. And so
Right.
surrender is allowing the heart to lead the way, which always serves your
Mm-hmm.
highest good, 100%. So I would tell them, know who you are, God, start surrendering that highest aspect of who you are, and then be in acceptance of everything, how it shows up, even if it's a shit show. Be in
Mm-hmm.
acceptance of it, because it's life. And you cannot go up against life. You're going to lose every time. So,
Mm-hmm.
be in acceptance of it. And then it's like a cloud. Then it can pass right by, because the blue sky is always there. The cloud can pass by. And as you probably heard a million times, whatever you resist persists. So if you
Mm-hmm.
resist life, if something shows up in your reality that you don't, you perceive as, there's no good or bad, but you perceive as bad, be in full acceptance of it, whether it's an illness, whether it's whatever it is. You'll move
Right.
through it quicker, because you just will,
Mm-hmm.
because you're in full acceptance of it. and
Right.
and because all universe wants is your love and acceptance. I
Mm-hmm.
have an example. I tell people, it's like you're a parent, you have 2 children. The girls, just for example's sake, no rhyme or reason why I'm picking what I'm picking, but the
Right.
girl's name is Joy and the boy's name
Mm-hmm.
is Anger. And every time the ice cream truck comes around in the summer in August, the
Mm-hmm.
mother always takes the daughter out, Joy, to get ice cream, because she's so proud of her and she's always happy, in a good mood, and the ice cream man's happy to see her. And Anger
Mm-hmm.
gets left in the house because she's embarrassed, or she's ashamed of him, because he always gets angry and acts out in some way, and she's
Mm-hmm.
embarrassed for the ice cream man to see him. So how do you think Anger feels when Joy and the mother come in the door every single time with ice cream, eating their ice cream with nothing for Anger? Well, Anger gets pretty
Right.
mad. right? Pissed off. so,
Right.
so what does anger do? And this is just a metaphor for an emotion that you're not allowing to express itself. Like if you feel, for example, jealousy and you're pushing it down because you're embarrassed or you don't want to really feel it or think about it, or anger. You don't want to feel it or think about, let's use anger because we're using anger for
Right.
its name. You don't want to feel it and you push it away. All that child that's named anger, that emotion wants from you is your love as a mother. It wants your love and it wants your acceptance as part of the God family it is. It wants to be accepted as the God it is, right? As the
Right.
universe that it is, part of the universe that it is. And when you push it away and you constantly say, no ice cream for you, in other words, I'm not going to feel you, you get away, I'm going to resist you because it's painful for me to look at you or whatever reason. It's going to, what do toddlers do when they don't get their way? They act up even more, right?
Right.
You're going to look at me. I'm going to scream and have a temper tantrum. And then they act up. And if you keep not listening, they'll put you on your little, they'll get you horizontal. You'll manifest something, illness or something, and then they'll have your attention because you won't be able to go anywhere. And then you'll have to listen to them. But it doesn't have to be that way, though. It doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't. And it's like a lot of people during the late 90s was preaching, get rid of ego.
No.
Get rid of ego. No. You've got to have ego. You've got to have a little braveness.
It has a wonderful job, but it was never meant to drive the car. It doesn't even, because here's the thing with ego. It doesn't even know about the I am presence, the heart. It doesn't know that the heart is the infinite wisdom. So it's trying to do its best for you in running the show. But because it doesn't know of the heart's infinite intelligence, it doesn't. Yeah, it's like having a pilot on a plane and something's going wrong with the plane and the stewardess is trying to fly the plane when the pilot's sitting right there. The stewardess isn't aware that the guy's in plain clothes and he's there and he can fly the plane because, it's not, he has a job, but it's not meant to be in charge. It's not.
No, he's not the leader.
Yeah.
But you need that ego to go, I'm manifesting this death.
Yeah, you need to be able to run from the tiger in the jungle if he's chasing
exactly.
you. Yeah.
Right.
And the masters told me through the I am discourses too. What was I going to tell you? They said if you don't let the I am presence, God, the I am that I am presence, lead the way in your life through surrender, and all you have to do is say, I surrender everything and all to my I am presence. So be it. So it is. And I always add, I surrender everything and all the energy connected to it, so it can go, into wherever it needs to go. The ego has to do it because there's only two ways there. It's either the I am is leading the way in your life, or the ego is, and that's the only options. So if you're not surrendering to your I am, then the ego is in charge. That's it. Yeah, the ego, the baby's driving the car.
So, what was your hardest point? Your hardest lesson when you began channeling?
Well, I'm always channeling. I channel my poetry, I channel my writings, and now I'm stepping into, I'm starting to talk. They want me to talk out. Like, that's why I'm on the podcast. Thank you for asking me to be here.
Not a problem.
And they want me to, as I'm speaking to people, I'm going to find out what people are wanting and how they best remember things. Because I'm not saying learning, because I'm not teaching anybody anything. We're all infinite divine wisdom. We're each remembering. We have all that wisdom within us. So it's just a spark of the remembrance, right? So, So I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I was on a roll. You're there.
Fine. I was asking what the hardest thing for channeling is.
Yeah. I don't think it's hard at all. No, it's just being relaxed and going with the flow and actually being authentic. If you're 100% your authentic self, you're channeling, because if I feel that's what I was told anyway recently. Just be your authentic self. And they reminded me, they said, Kim, you're always, because I would have practice session with my friend who's a channeler, and they said, Kim, you're always channeling. Just affirm, I am always a divine pure channel, and with divine will and the purest, highest, greatest vibrational frequencies that possibly exist, And so that's what I say. I'm always channeling, so. I think it's just relaxing and surrendering, that's it.
Right. And for me, it's filtering, and what I mean by that is, as you're channeling, like crap comes out of my mouth all the time. Some of our best taglines, like burn his shit, came out of my mouth, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I talking about a damn transmission? I don't know fuck about that. But I'm diagnosing a transmission. So that was real. That's what I find with my students is the hardest. Is they have this built-in, like, I can't say that. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
here's the beauty of surrender. When you surrender everything and all the energy
Right.
connected to it with your intent, your I am presence, my whole life is my I am, everything is done through my I am, you know what I mean? My I am presence does everything through me. So everything is divine perfection. That's the beauty of surrender. It's all perfect, which is serving my highest good, your highest good, and everybody's highest good simultaneously. Because in truth, there's only one of us here. There's only one of us here appearing as many. So if it's good for me and I'm following my highest joy, which is my soul's compass, right? If I'm following that, then it's good for everybody. I had a cousin once and she was going through a divorce, I'll share with you. And she said to me, you know, I don't love him anymore. I know I'm meant to move on. And she was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And he wanted to keep the marriage. And I said, and she's not really spiritually awake or anything. And she said, what should I do? And I said, well, what's your highest joy? She goes, to get the heck out of Dodge. And I said, well, what's stopping you? I said, as soon as she left, her health improved, everything improved. And I said, the reason you, as the universe that you are, you're in command of it all. You're turning the heat up on yourself to get out of there because who knows what it is? You had a soul contract with him for so long and now it's different. And there's no blame in that ever, you know, you have it for so long to have lessons or whatever you need to accomplish with that person. And then you have a new contract and it's all good. There's no blame. It's just you're you know, leaving one thing and life equals the definition of life has changed. So you're always shifting and going, you know, it's the human that puts the blame and the, you know, and I said to her, you know, if does it bring you your highest joy to leave him? And she said, absolutely. I said, well, then it's for his highest good too. And she said, how can you say that? I said, because you're one with him. As long as as long as you're being authentic and it's your highest joy, then that's your soul. Your soul speaks to you through your feelings, right? So if you're following that, you're 100% doing the best for everybody, you know? So,
all right, darling, where can they learn more about you?
Oh, okay. So kimbarder.com. Kim, BARDER.com. Thanks so much. And I'm on Instagram as @KimberlyBarter. I'm going to change that soon, but so they match, but @KimberlyBarter. And you can find my book now. You have to put the comma in, on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, Walmart, all those places. Probably easiest Amazon. So, but thank you.
Amazon. Is it in different forms, Nat, or are we just
Kindle? Yeah, it's Kindle. It's on Kindle, and I think everywhere you can buy a book, it's there, pretty much.
Very cool, very cool. And you know, guys, check out her site. You can get in contact with her. Make sure to get on her mailing list because she's going to be doing talks at colleges. She's going to be being in person here very soon. I look forward to having coffee with you when your deck comes out.
Oh, that'll be
fun to look at.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. This was great. I enjoyed having coffee with you.
I love having coffee with you, darling, and I can't wait for the deck to come out, for the other 10 books in this series to come out, and everything kind of like manifesting for you. All right, guys, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Are you ready for an enchanting journey of self-discovery and empowerment? Dive into the mystical world of Wicca with our courses guided by Lord Aeson Knight. Unveil Wicca's secrets, explore fundamental principles, and delve into essential topics like deity relationships and the purpose of rituals. Aeson Knight, a third-degree high priest, shares his wisdom through life coaching lessons, guiding you towards a brighter future. Step into the inner circle of enlightenment. Enroll today to embark on a journey toward a more empowered you. Click the link to take your first step into the magical circle.
Ready to join the Psychic Coffee Shop Network? By becoming our patron, you'll unlock exclusive content from Aeson Knight, host of the Psychic Coffee Shop podcast and co-host of the Mountain Bears podcast, alongside the tech-savvy Techie Joe. Choose from subscription options ranging from Tall $1, Grande $5, to Venti $10 per month, supporting us in covering production costs and beyond. Depending on your subscription level, enjoy discounts on private readings, free access to classes and special events, behind-the-scenes extras, and the chance to participate in station meetings. Plus, you'll get early access to new content and the opportunity to shape future topics. We'll acknowledge your support in the credits of our videos. Don't wait. Brew some magic and join us today as a valued member. Link in the show description. Aeson Knight, your gateway to a transformed life. In a world where anyone can claim to be a life coach, Aeson stands out as a true professional with the skills and qualifications to guide you on your journey to success. So why invest in a personal life coach? Let's explore the game-changing benefits Aeson brings to the table. Ever find it hard to stay committed to change on your own? Aeson's expertise ensures you stay on track. With him as your coach, that internal drive kicks in, motivating you to keep your promises and achieve your goals. Making a change is tough, but Aeson makes it 1,000 times easier. He's your unwavering support, guiding you through challenges, pushing you beyond your limits, and believing in you even when you doubt yourself. Friends are great, but they may not always want to see you succeed. Aeson, on the other hand, is dedicated solely to your success. He removes negativity and limiting beliefs, giving you the tailored support you need. Forget endless hours deciphering advice from books and videos. Aeson is your shortcut to effective change. He saves you time and money by offering personalized attention, guiding you toward the tools and lessons that will truly work for you. Ready for a better tomorrow? Book your discovery call with Aeson Knight now. Take the first step toward the life you've always dreamed of. Aeson Knight, your partner in transformation. Start your journey today.
Well, hi, honey. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you this evening?
Good.
Very cool. Very cool. Yay.
Yay. Are you an asshole, ready?
I do. Am I the asshole for sending a story to a podcast my wife listens to? So my wife, 21 female, and I, 22 female, are a lesbian couple. She comes from a super religious family, and I don't. My family was very nice to me when I came out a few years ago, especially on my mom's side because her brother is also gay. Besides that, when my wife came out, her grandma, let's call her Anna, basically started saying it was the worst thing that ever happened in her life. I think she forgot that her husband was a gigantic asshole. But her mom eventually calmed things down and was actually grateful that my wife decided to come out and not do something bad that would haunt the family for years because of the guilt. Her sister and her husband have been the most supportive of all, and we actually like each other very much and get along very well in gatherings. Unlike the rest of my wife's family that doesn't like me that much, but Anna thinks the rest of her family, her sisters, nieces, and nephews, don't know about my wife and I being a gay couple. In the last holidays, we were supposed to cross the country to visit Anna and stay with her for a few days. Safe to say I wasn't the most excited person in the world to go on the trip, but my wife was so thrilled to see her grandma that I pushed my feelings aside and was 100% in just to make her happy. But that's the moment things went downhill. Anna straight out told my wife she didn't want me to come along and that she would be very uncomfortable with my presence and that her sisters shouldn't know about my wife's situation. Then I got mad, not even because she was rejecting me, but because she was neglecting my wife and her feelings, without considering the awesome person that she is when she isn't hiding her true self to please her family. So my wife decided to go on the trip, knowing her family was going to trash talk about her behind her back and to her face, and knowing she would be miserable there without me around. Me and our friends tried to talk her out of it, but she didn't listen, because she'd rather be around them and feel awful than to listen to someone who just wants her to be well. Well, then I had an idea to tell the story to someone I know for sure she would listen. A woman from a podcast she is obsessed with. Probably not the best idea of all time, but it was the best I had at the moment. And so I did. The woman read the story, contacted me, and wants to tell it on her podcast next week. Am I being a jerk for trying to talk sense into her and for wanting her to listen? Am I the asshole here?
No.
Mm.
And here's why you're not the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people go through this. A lot of people deal with families that don't like them, deal with families that aren't comfortable, deal with families in different generations, deal with shit talkers behind their back. So sharing your story shows that you're not alone. Did it help that you went towards the source that you thought your wife would listen to? Very much so. I hope you changed her name. But other than that, no.
Alrighty. So on to relationship advice. We posting a poll up.
The poll is up. Feel free to vote. Your options are yes, no, everyone's shitty here, or you're a deal pickle.
Hey, there we go. All right. So relationship advice. The 50-50 rule. My 24 female boyfriend, 26 male, says he won't get me flowers. Hi, first time poster here. I wanted to come to Reddit to gather some opinions or thoughts on this matter. My 24 female boyfriend, 26 male of 2 years, and I recently got into an argument. I asked him why he doesn't buy me flowers, insinuating that I want more than just the bare minimum. And his response to me was, well, when's the last time you got me flowers? I believe in 50-50. That's it. LOL. Y'all, I have got him flowers, annoyed with myself about it, honestly. I can't think of a time we've went on a date that wasn't my idea and I didn't have to go 50-50 for. Is this real life? Am I bugging? Please tell me.
See, there's a problem with this 50-50 rule.
Mm-hmm.
And I really will probably post Braving the Wild, Brene Brown's version of the 50-50 rule.
Okay.
Because it isn't 50-50. Some days it's 10 and 90. Some days it's 40 and 14. Some days it's, time to outsource the 70% you guys do not have. But it's never truly 50-50. What's your view on it?
Well, I think that's the biggest part is someone has a misunderstanding of the 50-50 rule.
Right.
Like, that's a little more persnickety than 50-50 should ever be.
Right.
And that's not even the point.
Yeah.
It's the idea that between the two of you, somehow, some way, you do have to come out to 100%.
Right.
And it is the 90-10, 95-5, like you kind of have to step up or have someone step up for you in different situations. And sometimes that does include what you're saying. And more importantly, what Brene Brown says, the idea that you can outsource that. Like sometimes that's DoorDash.
Yep.
Sometimes that's grocery delivery. Sometimes that's a babysitter. Sometimes that's pet sitter. Sometimes that's a lot of things. Just to get you through. Rather than sit there and try to both show up at 50-50 all the time.
Right.
Like that's for those that try the true 50-50, it's usually a nightmare. If you break down into like the 80-20s and one partner is doing 80% all the time and the other one is just coasting on 20, that's a doomed relationship in most instances. Because you can only put forward 80% for so long before you're burnt out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's services out there, darling, that he could be like phoning this into. This is what annoys me. And I was going to rant on TikTok, but hell, I'll do it here. It'll save me time. I do not get how you people fuck this up. There are subscription services that you can literally structure the flowers to be delivered on all the important holidays. You have a freaking cell phone. Most of you keep your nose belled to it. It has multiple calendars. Right now, I've got like 4 on my phone. Google, Samsung, iPhone, all of them. You can set down and you can set reminders for every fucking important holiday. Valentine's Day with a list of acceptable gifts. So it's just an easy add to do list, order flowers. On the 1st of February, phone the fuck in. Stop fucking up your relationships because you aren't investing the 5% of bare minimum.
Well, and putting in holidays and the actual event is important. Pro-life tip, backing up 2 weeks before that or more if you need it. And putting in a second event called Shop for, Plan for, Prepare for, Save money for, do something, whatever. Like you can structure this out so that you're not taken by surprise. And one, you have time to get a gift and get it delivered, even if it's off Amazon. And also, like, again, if you need it, to recognize that, oh shit, there's a paycheck problem. Because I'm sure the week of Valentine's Day there was a dude caught in the I don't get paid till Friday gambit. And we kind of broke right now. So yeah, for pro-life tip, figure out how much lead time you need and post events that way as well.
You know, get you a good florist. There is apparently a lot of services out there. Vogue done a lovely article on which ones are the best. That'll automatically do deliveries. And it just comes out of your account however you set it. You know, it isn't that hard. I'm not gonna, you can go read the article yourself. From urban streams to balloon boxes. Why? Okay, but back to the original 50-50. As long as you equal 75, most days you're good.
Like, you can coast through a lot of days at 75% of whole human functioning.
And whole relationship functioning. If you cannot hit 55, if you can't hit 50 today, great. Maybe he's got the extra. Or tomorrow you're hitting 95 and he can coast through and play his video game all day, because that's really all you need as a human in the house. Okay. The important thing is to recognize that he's not hitting even bare at 5% by going, well, when's the last time you got me flowers? Well, when's the last time you cooked dinner? Well, I don't want to hear that. You don't need fucking receipts.
And the bigger part here is this is a cop-out. Like, it's a cop-out. This is lazy dating. This is
zero effort.
This is the dating version of what is it? The incompetence thing. Like learned, feigned, whatever incompetence. And it's a cop out. It's just a cop out. Like, wouldn't you do that for me last? Like, no, sorry, no. That's not how that works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It isn't real life. It isn't practical. It isn't compatible. It isn't like even near there. where it needs to be. And if he's going to run this, then he needs to recognize the full rules to the 50-50 gambit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can't
So buy him a book and
yeah,
some flowers.
yeah. Daring Greatly, wonderful book. Atlas to the Heart, great birthday present.
Yeah. You can Brene Brown all your holidays for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point, you might run out. And then I don't know if nothing's changed, pick it up on audio and just start all over. Like give him one more chance. Because I'm sure they're all audiobooks.
But most of them are.
Yeah, I think there's like maybe one or two that are not.
Right.
I'm just saying. Between, the book, physical, the audiobook, which is pretty much the catalog, I'm sure somewhere in there can get there.
$10 between audio versions, because there's audio versions. There's also 2 books that are only audio versions because they're special programs: The Power of Vulnerability and Rising Strong as a Spiritual Practice. Like, feed him all those, and then once you're done with those, then I want you to head over to
It does help if you read them yourself.
yes,
Just a side note.
Yeah.
Make sure you read/listen yourself.
Yeah. And then, head over to Mel Robbins and start reading her books for yourself.
There you go. All right.
Just my viewpoint. Oh, it's been a good day. It's been polyamorous. How did it stop? We've been top performance. Like, we get our poly stripes all day today. You were gone all day.
Mm-hmm. I was.
Yeah. When you came home, got a nap. Everything multifunctioned. It's wonderful.
Oh, there you go.
Right. Is anything making your news feed?
I hadn't had a chance to look. I know that I did find one story for Friday, but that's a little more than we probably want to get into here.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. All right, then let's take a look at the poll.
Yep.
And poll. No, you are not an asshole for writing a podcaster with your situation.
Good deal.
Right. And our comment on it was, as long as they do not use real names during the podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's one of those situations. It's going to ring too familiar. Like, you're not going to need real names.
Right.
Like, my only comment is I just wonder, like, how the spouse is going to react to realizing this is me.
Right.
Like, I don't think this is going to go well.
Oh, I don't think it went well. That's why they're asking if they're an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But alrighty.
Alrighty. Well, guys, we hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back on Friday. I will be back on Thursday.
Yep. You got coffee and tea this week. That's coming up on Thursday. Then we'll be back for Mountain Bears. And of course, we'll see you again for Psychic Fit Plans.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
And in between that, probably Saturday, we need to have a station meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, because we can't do it on Wednesday.
No, probably not. It's going to be a packed Wednesday this week.
Yeah. Very packed Wednesday. All right. So here we go. Take it away.
Alrighty. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. Good night, y'all.
Good night.